Hey everybody, my name is MacArthur Gill and I'm the VP of Engineering at StoryFit. So what we do is we are a tech company that enables publishers and movie studios with data science and natural language processing capabilities that empowers them to make better decisions. And so words and content are at the core of everything we do. And our team's background exemplifies that. Our CEO, Monica Landers, spent most of her career in content-related companies. Our lead data scientist, Grace Lynn, is a former NASA data scientist who got her PhD in natural language generation so she could take dialogue that was given to her and transform it so it sounded like different characters in the Big Bang Theory. Another data scientist of ours, Mark Besson, is a former iBooks at Apple employee, and then there's me, and I'm really a tech person. I have a background in startups, not so much in content, but I did write a book one time, and it wasn't very good. My mother said I should stick to engineering, and our algorithms actually confirmed that. So the goal when we started was really to figure out everything we can about a book. When we would get a book, we said, okay, well, what can we, through algorithms, pull out? And some of that is simple. Some of that was the average sentence length. Some of that was how many multisyllabic words can we count in this book. And then some of the features we were able to pull out were more difficult. So we used topic modeling, latent Dirichlet allocation, LDA, to figure out sort of what topics compose this book. And so those we call features, and you'll hear me talk more and more about the features as we go along. But what we do is pretty much take those features and then package them up in different ways to provide the solutions that different companies need. We have three main products, one of which is taxonomy-related products, one of which is reports that give you a breakdown of a book in the landscape of all the other books that are being published right now. And another one of those is keywords that allows you to generate more revenue and sales on Amazon and other channels. So how do we do this? For any good machine learning, you need a lot of data. It's not just about the quantity, though. It's also about the quality. And so it's important when collecting your data and cleaning your data to get it right. So we spend a lot of time working on getting the right data so that our algorithms can be trained correctly. So then when you look at taxonomy, it's really what is this book about? What different things compose this book? And so a few of the products that we've created through our topic modeling and ability to extract the topics out of different works is comparable titles. We also, for one company that asked us to, created a dynamic textbook for them. So they were able to send us different chapters of textbooks. We would return both the age range, the difficulty level of the text, and then also the topical breakdown of that text. They were able to then take that data and start to create a more dynamic experience for students. I don't think it's live yet, but that's their game plan, so that if you're reading a chapter and you want to dive deeper, we can provide data that's different, a different chapter that's on that same subject and has about the same reading level. And we also, it helps you index your titles for search. It's what we use to figure out if this book is a romance novel or a physics textbook. While for humans, that's very easy. For computers, it's a little trickier of a task. And I'm sure there are a lot more applications that you can come up with that I've never even considered. And so I'm going to give you a little breakdown of how it works. I hope this isn't too boring. So we build a lot of different topic models. The one I'm going to talk about now is based on the 4.1 million nonfiction articles that we extracted from the web. So the computer goes through each one, reading word by word, and looks at not only the word it's currently viewing, but also the surrounding words. And so as it does that, it starts to map the co-occurrence of every word with the other words around it. And so let's say it's looking at an article on farming. It sees words like soil, grass, sunlight, pesticides. It sees all those words co-occurring near each other, and then you can't really do a lot with that, but as you look across 4.1 million articles, what you see is these certain words start to cluster together. And so when you see soil, oftentimes you see sunlight. And these words start to form a cluster that then a human comes in, starts to look at each individual cluster, and is able to apply labels like farming to these topics. So that's a pretty basic rundown of how it works. This is a lot to take in, but this is a book on enzymes. And as you can see, our topic models produce 3 different topics if you just look at the left side: protein chemistry, genetics, and evolutionary biology, as it ran through this. So let's dive a little deeper. Those were the labels that humans put on these topics, but let's look at the genetics topic. You can look at the individual words that compose that topic, like gene, DNA, RNA, genetic, cell. These are clearly related to genetics. So because those words appear in this enzymes book, and they are co-occurring near each other, we're able to say, hey, this is a genetics topic. And so also you can apply these labels to multiple topics. So if you look at the 3, you have protein chemistry, genetics, and evolutionary biology. We labeled all of those molecular biology. So then onto our reports. This gives publishers a way to look at their book across the landscape of all books. One company, Amberjack Publishing, was willing to take a little bit of a chance on us and start using these reports. And for them, it became an unbiased member of the team. They were able to see the same report analyzed the same way from a machine that had read 55,000 books, which is a lot. And so on to our keywords. How we do keywords starts the same way we do everything, and that's extracting everything we can about the book. We then apply the best practices from around the web and then deliver the metadata. But the most important step is this last step, and that's where we learn, refine, update, and improve our keywords. So for instance, Father's Day is coming up. And if you're trying to sell a book on Amazon, right now Father's Day is a great keyword to have. Father's Day gifts, great keyword. People are searching for that. Now I've looked at the Google Trends, and not that many people are searching for that in August. And so the key to having quality keywords that are actually fit into the season and actually drive sales is to be able to update and refine those, because you don't want those keywords taking up space in August. You want Father's Day to be the most important keyword in the beginning, and that's what we do. We allow you to update and continue to improve your keywords as you go along. So there are a few things you can't really control. You can't control your ratings, you can't control your reviews, and the truth is our keywords do not drive sales. All they do is just increase your discoverability. We can't sell your book for you, but we can get it seen by people. One of the interesting case studies that came out of this is we had a publishing house that actually had some books go out of stock, and we had just put our keywords in and we saw sales just plummet. I mean, it was terrible. We were so worried that our keywords had tanked their entire sales. So we ended up getting their sales data, sending it back to them, telling them how worried we were that our keywords had just completely decimated their sales, and we found out that actually all their books were out of stock. And so the publishing house didn't even know. And so it was another side benefit of having that sales data come through a source like us. Amazon gives you a lot of best practices to follow, and they tell you some things that you shouldn't do. So we incorporate all of that into our algorithms that create your keywords. Also, the browse categories here. You cannot get into the deep level of the browse categories on Amazon unless you have very specific keywords. This is almost too much for a human to think through and handle on a book-by-book basis. To really do it right, it really takes a long time. There are a lot more browse categories than I'm showing right here. And so that's another thing that our keywords includes. So when you put it all together, you start with that new manuscript. We do our feature analysis. We output our keywords that take into account the Google Trends and whether Father's Day is coming up and all sorts of best practices. We then send those keywords to you. You send the metadata to your various sales channels, get the sales data back. We incorporate that sales data. My boss never uses this analogy. I love this analogy. And so since this is my moment, I'm going to give it to you. Buying our keywords is a lot like buying a Nest thermostat. You spend a little money in the beginning, and so in the short term, you lose a little money. But long term, it pays off. But The best thing about buying a Nest thermostat and buying our keywords is that you get to set it and never think about it again. So that's it for me. Oh, and here are our measurable results. You can see how we've done looking at our nonfiction, narrative nonfiction, which might be more up your alley. We've had some pretty good sales results, and this is not all of them, but these are the ones I was allowed to put on the slide. So thank you.